Yo sé que en este país habemos muchos inmigrantes y vienen de diferentes partes. No tienen los mismos servicios que se tienen ahora aquí de salud. Pero es como todo. El tiempo va pasando. El tiempo nos va enseñando. Ahora yo pienso que los que estamos aquí tenemos ese privilegio. Tenemos la obligación de enseñarles a nuestros hijos, de enseñarles a nuestros nietos. Porque uno abre caminos y los niños tienen que seguir. Hay que enfocarles que su salud es primero.
My mother-in-law is a force to be reckoned with. She's very soft-spoken, but when she speaks, people listen.
Some of the qualities that my mom and Griselda share, they have a kind heart. And I believe what they put out in the world is what they get back and what makes them survivors. The reason why I think it's important for us to share our story is because hopefully it'll make a difference to someone out there.
Tenía una bolita aquí. Entonces fui al doctor. El doctor me mandó a un centro de cáncer. Desde ese instante yo supe, esto no es bueno. Y el mismo miedo que me dio, después de los resultados que se los dieron al doctor, yo no fui. Tardé, yo creo que como 3 meses en poder ir a ver los resultados.
I come from a Latino family, and we see that all the time. Our older family members don't have that culture of going to the doctors. They were not educated about preventive medicine.
Nuestra generación nos dedicamos más a los hijos, al esposo, a que estén bien, que a nosotros mismos.
In Mexico, we don't go to the doctor unless you're sick. There's no preventive measures. We're not taught to take care of ourselves in order to take care of others. We just take care of others.
Cuando yo llegué con el doctor, me vio, me dijo, siéntate. Me senté y me dijo, tienes cáncer. ¿Ya te diste cuenta de lo que tienes? Dice, porque tardaste 3 meses en venir. Ahora, yo lo único que te pido, que no tardes otros 3 meses en venir. Fue cuando reunimos a mis hijos. En eso vino mi hijo y me dijo, mamá, tienes que vivir porque estás esperando una nieta. Eso para mí fue algo grande. Y hasta la fecha le digo que es mi ángel, porque ella me dio fuerzas para continuar.
In Hispanic communities where both parents are working and more often are working 2 jobs, per person, discussing something that may potentially move you away from that role, it's like you're not even allowed to consider getting sick.
Es un miedo terrible que yo veo en las personas.
And I would hear bits and pieces of like, oh, do you know so-and-so? They had cancer. And I was like, what was that? They're like, yeah, they had cancer. And I was like, why can't you just speak up? And it's the fact that they were even afraid to utter the words.
Usted nada más dice cáncer, tienes cáncer, y se le cierra la mente, se le cierra el mundo.
Language is definitely a barrier. So do we have efforts such as what the American Cancer Society is doing to reach out to someone in their language?
They show fear of not being understood. even the best interpreter services. It never feels the need completely of these patients in terms of communication with the physician.
Porque si no nos hablan en español, ¿cómo les vamos a entender? ¿Cómo nos vamos a cuidar si no nos enseñan a cómo nos tenemos que cuidar?
If you can't get it in the right language, it's the same thing as not getting the care at all. And it's not just getting the information, it's how you deliver the language, the background, the culture, the face that delivers the information.
If they can identify and not feel awkward because they see someone like themselves going through or trying to help them, then it might make a difference in their fight against cancer.
Entonces, tener esa información en el lenguaje pertinente es esencial para tomar las decisiones importantes.
It was May 10th, which, as many Hispanics, if not most, would know is Mother's Day. So I'm in the doctor's office and they sit me down and I hear, I'm sorry to tell you, you have invasive ductal carcinoma stage 2. And it was like someone had kicked me really hard in my stomach. And my first thought was, my daughters, 7 and 11. And was I going to see them grow up? Was I going to be at their wedding? What was going to happen to them?
I felt confused because I never really thought that it could happen to me and my family.
The second thought was to my husband, and my husband was my rock.
Cada persona tiene su historia. Y lo único que yo hice con mi hijo es decirle, dale todo tu apoyo.
The difference between my mother's cancer journey and my wife's cancer journey was about 15 to 18 years. And so the resources that my dad had are very different to the resources that I had.
When I was diagnosed, you get all this jargon, all this vocabulary that you don't understand, and your mind is not even clear. So I remember my husband saying, well, let's call the American Cancer Society. There's an 800 number. And I vividly remember him having the paper of the diagnosis and being on the phone with a very patient woman explaining, and answering his questions because he wanted to comfort me. So the ability to literally reach out, pick up that phone and ask questions in your language, in your home, that is a huge, huge comfort. The American Cancer Society is appreciating the fact that we are undergoing an extremely life-changing experience. And they're saying, aquí estamos para ustedes. Nosotros los apoyamos. Like, we are here for you. We're recognizing your strength. We're recognizing the fact that you're more courageous than you ever thought you could be. And we will be here to carry you through. When
You're going through something like this, that's the most important thing, is feeling supported by everything and everyone around you.
We were trying to be the best for each other, and more than anything, to really protect our children so that they could see that we stood as one, and hopefully that would lessen the trauma that they were experiencing.
I think the way she handled this whole situation around us was a huge thing.
My daughters asked, why you? And I said, well, it's better me than someone that doesn't have insurance, someone that doesn't have someone like daddy next to them, someone that doesn't have someone like the grandmas taking care of them.
I think she handled it so naturally and showed it so naturally to us that she was going to get through this.
And I really admire her for that.
It wasn't that I was proud to say I had cancer, but I was going to own it. I know that I got more of the cancer than it could ever have taken from me.
It brings hope, I think. People can get better from this, and she's proof of it.
I'm proud that they have Griselda and my mother as a role model to show them how to be strong.
pienso que ya es tiempo de que nos pongamos las pilas. Y yo como abuela le digo, me van a seguir viendo luchando hasta el final.
I feel that it is my duty, if I'm going to endure this, if I endured it already, then it needs to serve a purpose. So I'm a volunteer at H.E.R.O Recovery. It's a partnership between survivors and the newly diagnosed patients with a similar diagnosis, so that someone can talk to you one-on-one, someone that truly understands, what you're going through, and you can talk to someone in your language. And so while I've only been a volunteer for the last maybe 6 weeks, I've had 4 women already reach out to me. So this speaks to the, again, lack of representation.
That is the primary problem that we have in Latino communities, which is very unique to us. Language, cultural sensitivity should be available. It's part of our basic right to receiving care.
We all deserve the same quality of healthcare. It doesn't matter our backgrounds or ethnicities or languages. The reality is that it's not true.
And that is shameful. And we can see that all tied up with the social determinants of health. We don't have the same need to receive care.
So we're talking about equity because illness does not see your color, does not see your ethnicity, your immigration status, your nationality, your gender. It just hits you. And so if we're really going to be a strong country of Americans of all different backgrounds, but a healthy country, then we need to start thinking about health equity that impacts all of us, because it is the just thing to do, to be an inclusive and diverse community.